This was a surprisingly hot topic in season one, and I did not expect it to be coming out of the gate. I'm not exactly sure what it is about the difficulty of the War Within that is causing this problem to be more squarely in the focus of Mythic Plus Pugging than it has ever been before, from what I can tell. But right now, tanks are causing havoc, especially in the low key range. This is season two, so my question to you guys, are you running into this problem again? Again, if you didn't see it in season one, we have a lot of videos, reviews like this, even in higher keys where tanks are disproportionately unskilled. Tanks are perhaps making mistakes you wouldn't expect them to make, or kind of just otherwise the most aloof, the most confused player in the group, which is usually the opposite. Like I said, as a tank main for all these years, I always expected you're the one putting in the most preparation. You know, you have the route to care about, you have yourself to care about, but you also have the rest of the group to usher through the dungeon. That means a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more expectation of that responsibility. But yeah, recently we have seen the complete opposite of that. Let's take a look at these clips. We have a Blood Death Knight in this group, usually a good sign, but in this one, not as much. You know me and the red flags. We just talked about this in the last video, but yeah, the red flags kind of mounting up before the key starts here with this weird chatter going on. It's not as much of a red flag this time as more of like an actual indication of what's going on with this player. Like you could see a trend developing based on the chat. So this is actually said before the key. The person says, "Hi, we skip the first pack and then kill after first boss," which is, yeah, fine instructional advice. But then it looks like the person who submitted this comes into the dungeon and realizes that it is needing to be reset, which indicates that they were just in here. This is the key holder as well as the tank. Could be for any reason. I mean, you never know why the key needs to be reset and why the last key failed. But yeah, this is a 7 now, meaning the key was an 8. Now it's a 7. Then they're talking about resetting it and not being able to reset it. The way I've seen it work in the past is if somebody's inside the dungeon and you try to reset it, it just resets it for you and not them, and then they have to come out and in. We literally just discussed that in a video a couple weeks ago. Either way, we know this guy was trying to reset the 8, and we're in a 7 doing Theater of Pain 7, and we're going to do this skip again. There's nothing abnormal about this. This is very, very normal. I would definitely recommend everybody does this. We do have a Demon Hunter, and that's how we're going to execute it. I think that's really our only option besides Invispop, but the tank, yeah, just doesn't really establish threat on the enemies, so 2 of the bosses are just walking around, and we are going to wipe, like, instantly. So watch it again. He gets strat on the Bloodhorn, and then the one guy, but then the other guy just doesn't. And I actually have had this problem myself. I think the mistake I always make with this is I try to drop Death and Decay too early. That guy did not do that. But yeah, I always try to drop Death and Decay as the first global going in, and that just doesn't do enough threat. Usually the second global being Blood Boil can often lead to somebody getting smacked. I have to kind of really make sure I'm there first. Now, the problem is what happens after, and regardless of why it happened, yeah, we can discuss this, but yeah, one way or the other, it's very unfortunate to have this. Like, this is a really, really, really bad start to the dungeon. Just want to make it very clear, they do not seem to use Bloodlust. I mean, I guess the rat has like popped all of his CDs. You see him spinning around over there. Look at that guy just like doing like full rotation with it's just him and the tank alive. It's like, okay, brother, this is a wipe. But anyway, the tank is responding. He says, "My mouse bugged." Wow. Oh, okay. So the question I have for everybody right now, do you think that he did this in the last run too? Like, is that why the 8 was now a 6? Like, he's actually going to just reset this too, which they didn't use Bloodlust. There's no death affix at 7 anymore. I honestly don't know why you would reset it. Like, you guys agree with this? Like, do you think this key is over at that point? They didn't use an Invispot. You can still do the skip. And so the healer is saying like, no, I don't want to do a 6, but I don't know why you wouldn't just say I'm not doing the 7, but they say it, they word it that way, and then they get removed from the party before they can even leave. So to me, it feels like this guy is like really on edge, like really just like hyper go mode kind of thing that you see a lot of people fall into this trap, and I don't know why you would be. Like, maybe people haven't done the keys enough to know, but I mean, I think you're pretty lenient here at the 7 range. I don't know. Do you guys think you can wipe like that and come back and do it again? Considering, again, like probably nothing was lost there. I think that's quite preemptive, and I would not be surprised at all if that is exactly what happened on the 8, and that's why we're now at 6. And then our second submission, again from the same person, is going to be a little bit more traditional. All right. First of all, I love that we just throw the key in, by the way. Nobody says a word. The key's just going to get tossed right in here, and we're going to get started. I love seeing this. This is like a low-key thing. People are even like maybe saying hi and stuff, trying to communicate before the dungeon, and then all of a sudden the key's in. Love seeing that. But anyway, this is about as long as it's going to go, too. Watch this first pull here. I'm going to show you this totally unedited because this is pretty wild. Focus on the Demon Hunter. Watch the health pools to the right of the center of the screen. He's going to leap in, and he's dead. That's like 3 seconds into the dungeon. Let's watch it again, I'm going to pause it as he engages each pack. First action, throws the glaive at that pack, which is, you know, obviously you need to pull the different packs. I don't know that you need to do that with that pack. Then second action, and we can also see a little bit of the defensive tracking right here. Second action is jump into that pack. Third pack, it's same thing, still no defensives used. Just going to leap, and now we're at like 30% health or something like that. Just going to leap into that pack. Actually, like a bunch of fire on the ground, but like literally as he goes in there, it goes from like 30% to like 5% health, and it's dead before a single action is taken. Does manage to get a Demon Spikes off as he's at 5% health though. So I'd love to see it from his perspective, because if this happened to me, I would be like just totally shell shocked. I would have no idea how to respond to this. So props to like coming back and trying to salvage it at this point. It's totally unsalvageable when you have this kind of thing happen. And this is why I think this dungeon is going to be so hard, because you're going to have this a lot where people just get destroyed by the first pack. A little bit more like how it goes right here, where the guy just dies again after getting reestablished on the pack. This part's kind of weird too, because I really don't understand a lot about Vengeance, but he's like totally fine, and then he's totally not. Yeah, I think this pack and these packs in general, like the bleeds that the enemies do is really, really bad for like a tank that doesn't have a lot of armor and an ability to like stabilize their health. But this is actually really funny too. Watch the health bars here. So we're gonna have again the tank die. He's gonna res and he's gonna die again. I mean, like, why would you do that? So he's dead again. Then watch the Paladin. He does the same thing. He reses again, gets punched again. Oh man, this is 12 deaths. So like, yeah, all right, hey, everybody's here. Everybody's continuing. Again, I really don't think the key's over at this point, just like the last one. You know, kind of props to not giving up. I mean, we still didn't bloodlust. Again, no bloodlust used. I feel like nobody's really lost anything here, so no reason not to continue. But then now this is actually kind of unfortunate, because then once you have the mini boss pull in with this trash, it gets really out of control. And now we're just like, the DPS are just dying at this point. It's just a calamity, and now the healer's dead, and then the DPS are rezzing, and they're gonna come back and die again. And now it's another death for the tank, and we're up to 18 deaths, and another healer's back and run into her death again. That's 20 deaths. We made it to 20 deaths. We have a 0% count. We have 0% count and 20 deaths in a 7. This is actually crazy. So again, love it. Like, everybody else is gung-ho, and the warrior's just like, I guess he's just like pulled the plug at this point, like just not releasing anymore. And we're not done. We got a third clip from this person, and I think that's why this is so crazy, right? 3 clips from the same person all in 1 week with pretty much the same behavior. This is kind of what made me want to make this video. We see the text chat there. Fair warning, threat is sus first 2 seconds of pull. I'm running Reaver build now. No idea what that means. If anybody wants to explain what's going on with these demon hunters, yeah, please, please, please do. At least we can see that this guy actually has cheat death. That would have really made the last clip go a lot better, I think. Anyway, the guy says, I have 3 GCDs before breath. I love the response to the Paladin's just like, yeah, I don't care. Let's do it. I just want to swing my weapon, man. That guy's in a guild named Paradigm Shift. Where? I've seen that guild. I don't remember. That's from like another review, isn't it? It can't be the same, but that stands out to me. Anyway, this guy's going to use the hunt, and he's going to also use cheat death, and he's also going to die. I mean, did you expect anything less? Let's go to watch that again. I guess this guy's like playing his class differently as well, because this is like a totally different sequence of events to start things off, but you can kind of see him using the hunt there. But like we said in the last one, I don't think you needed to pull it the way the guy did. Like, you can easily just gather these all to you, which just seems like way less risky than just like jumping headlong into them. So he has them as just like instantly in danger. I mean, I don't know, man. I think blood squish you, but then I see some of these clips, it's just wild. So again, this, I mean, you've just seen this. Literally, this is going to go the exact same way. We're going to at least a little bit more of a scramble this time. We're going to kind of reestablish it. Everybody's actually alive, so we did only have 2 deaths to that, and tank is again going to go down after reestablishing. I just want to say, like, this is one of the hardest things to do in the game. All right, to like reestablish after you die as a tank is, it's not only difficult like mentally and like honestly kind of socially, but to like even do it mechanically, it's like very, very, very difficult to do, especially as blood. I don't know about other tanks, but like trying to save this, it's just over. Like, just don't try. I'm telling you, it's just not worth it. And then we're gonna get the snide comment. Watch the comments here. They come. Seems like this is not the correct build then. And then people leave the group. What a surprise. So seeing these clips, yeah, really just begs the question, like, are you guys running into this still? Is this still a major issue? Because when we talked about it in season 1, there was a lot of conversation about it, and I'd like to pick up those conversations now. Yeah, feel free to give your thoughts now. Again, like, there are a lot of conversation points around the tank nerfs, right? And tanking being too difficult, quote unquote. And in season 1, yeah, I could see why people would say that. It was certainly like just made to be harder than season 4 and 3 of Dragonflight. And then they made some changes, like, you know, the situation where you're not able to stop casters as often and all of that kind of stuff, making maybe like a bigger impact than Blizzard would have expected. But I never saw it. At no point did I ever see it in season 1 on Blood Death Knight. It was the exact exact same as it always had been. And then, you know, people counter that point by saying like, oh, well, that's just because Blood Death Knight didn't get nerfed as hard as other tanks. I don't know, but I'm hearing right now that Vengeance is an incredibly strong tank. I know Blood is able to keep threat on 4 enemies, so like the first clip, I mean, that you kind of just write that one off. You don't really know what happens there, but like, is this still happening one way or the other, like the gross scale topic where tanks seem to be the limiting reagent in terms of the dungeon? All I can say is out there, if you guys are struggling, especially as a tank, like I can help you, man. I make a lot of videos on this topic and I would like to do more instructional stuff. I just don't really ever get submitted it, you know what I mean? So if like you guys are out there struggling as a tank, let's take a look at it. Like I would love to take a look at this Vengeance's screen and just see like, okay, this is what you should have did different. I'm sure you guys could look at it, especially if you play Vengeance, and you could identify 3 or 4 things just from a healer's perspective based on their UI, what that Demon Hunter could have did differently. Especially if you guys are running into this problem in low keys, keep throwing this at me because I'm very eager to keep this discussion going, and I don't know exactly how best to fix it. I think it's probably a big issue because the Pug world gets a little bit more volatile season after season, and so then I think a lot of people do want to switch to tank or healer. Like I get these comments quite frequently where people are like, you know, I used to play a DPS, now I'm going to switch, blah, 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 because it's easier to get groups, easier to be in control of the situation, but they aren't really cut out for it. I don't think that this is the skill level that you should have of the just general understanding of tanking before you jump into these keys. But anyway, just an interesting topic. We will be back to streaming tomorrow. March Madness starts this week, so I am going to be taking some time to watch that. Haven't fully decided when and where I'm going to be doing that. Probably Thursday off. We'll see how it plays out. But thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more streams coming this week. We will see you guys in the next one.